Anthony Davis believes someone is lying about the Luka Doncic trade. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you all subscribe to the channel. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, it's the most shocking trade we've seen in NBA history. It was I remember where I was when moment. We will all remember where we were when Anthony Davis was traded for Luka Doncic. Obviously, other pieces in the deal as well. But one of the big things to come out about this is how quiet both the Lakers and the Mavs kept this, with the word being that only 4 people actually knew about the trade: the owners on each side and the general managers involved, and that's it. Anthony Davis suggests he does not buy it. That maybe, to me, I thought that was the most impressive thing of the trade, was how it really came from out of nowhere. I mean, they really did keep this thing that quiet, to the point where we all thought that Shams Charania had been hacked when he reported it.
The initial reaction from everybody being, no way, this is real, he got hacked, it should tell you everything you need to know about this trade. Like, I love what the Mavs got back. I'm higher on them than I think a lot of people probably would be. I love AD, and I think that, you know, they look at it and say, oh, they only got 1 first-round pick, but then, like, AD himself is several first-round picks, right? But regardless, the fact that that was the reaction should tell you everything you need to know. It's just a trade that most teams don't make ever. So
yeah. And this is what Anthony Davis had to say. AD, talking to the LA Times, Brad Turner said, everybody's saying nobody knew and all this other stuff. I just don't believe it. But hey, man, I'm past that. So AD mentioned that he called LeBron right after. He FaceTimed LeBron right after the trade. And that the word was that LeBron didn't know. You know, that Rich Paul, maybe I've seen some reporting that maybe he knew like a day before or something like that. But do you buy that really nobody knew? AD is saying, I don't buy this, that it was that quiet. From AD's perspective, he thinks people are just telling him they didn't know when they knew and just weren't allowed to, or didn't want to give him a heads up about what was going on.
That's a very long-winded answer. We should probably hit some other stuff first before I come back to that.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's do this then. Let's give a shout out to Prize Picks, and then we'll get into
that,
which is our sponsor.
I could go, man, for a few minutes. So.
Okay, then I'm going to turn you loose on this. Let's talk Prize Picks for just a moment. Prize Picks are the sponsors. You guys know they do a phenomenal job. Daily fantasy sports. You can use our promo code Bulletin. Get a guaranteed $50 on your first $5 played. Let's take a look at some of the plays for tonight here.
You like that Beal? 28 points, rebounds, assists.
I mean, Phoenix is just there's no joy in Phoenix right now.
I think he's been basketball. Hitting that since he's been back in the starting group.
I think you're right. All right, we'll see if the sun shines.
We love you, Phoenix.
Bradley Beal and the Phoenix Suns, as it were. Let's see, what else do we like here? Jokic against Milwaukee, 49.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You know who's been crushing it lately has been Zion Williamson. He's really been great. I think Zion. He's got his weight down to a record low. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get hurt again here. And I'm going to bank on Zion. All right, so a $10 play, if I'm right on these, would win us $50. If you guys want to check it out, use the link in the description down below and go check out Prize Picks. Use our promo code, the Basketball Bulletin, Bulletin. Again, that promo code, Bulletin. Okay, Donnie, let us have it. What do you think? What's really going on?
Well. Okay, so here's the deal. Conspiracy part of me is like, there's no way nobody else knew about this.
Right.
But everything that's come out, like, we've seen a lot of stuff. We saw Rich Paul do a show or interview or whatever. He himself said he didn't know, because if he knew, the trade wasn't going to happen. LeBron talked about it, said how he didn't know. He was in shock. The reporting initially was that LeBron was out with his family having dinner. Jeannie Buss was doing an interview a couple days ago saying the exact same thing. Nobody knew, not Luka, nobody else, because it just wasn't going to go through. And like I said, conspiracy part of me says, I think it's really hard to say that they don't know or they wouldn't know, especially like if Rich Paul knew, like we were saying, maybe a day in advance. Does he not give LeBron the heads up? Right. That doesn't make too much sense to me personally, given, you know, their own personal connection going back as far as it does. But at the same time, the other part of me says, well, if that is truly the case, and if that is truly what AD believes, at least like Rich Paul involvement, because it's one thing if it's Rich Paul, LeBron, things like that. It's a whole different thing if it's maybe some other people that, because they didn't even let Danny Ainge know. So I don't know who all truly knows. But if it's those guys, then I think personally AD should leave his representation because Rich Paul is his agent too. Like Rich Paul can't just give LeBron the heads up and not give AD the heads up.
And not
that
tell
doesn't
AD.
make any sense. That
Right.
just like I understand their personal connection, but he's his agent, he's his representation. He is a clutch client, just like LeBron is. You have to tell AD this as well and get in front of it. But there's also been some people questioning whether or not AD himself knew in advance and AD was comfortable with it because he turned around and accepted that kicker getting turned off.
He did. That's
so
right.
fast.
He had a trade kicker. He got rid of that really quickly,
it was
didn't he?
Instant almost. As soon as the trade's like, oh, AD's waving the kicker. So like this whole thing, I really think either it's nobody knew like they're saying, or like it was the worst kept secret among this particular group of people. And everyone was just like, all right, whatever, we'll just let this happen and didn't say anything.
I agree with you. I don't necessarily buy that only 4 people actually knew. Maybe only 4 people knew through the bulk of the negotiation.
Okay, yeah, for like the couple weeks. Until
right.
the last
but
couple days.
Once it got serious, like, oh my God, we're actually doing this, that type of thing. And by the way, I'm sure the Lakers were 100% on board with keeping this whole thing quiet. The important thing for all of this, because they wouldn't want anybody to talk Nico Harrison out of it, which I mean certainly would have happened. I put this out there on X earlier today. I said it doesn't matter how many people actually knew about the Luka trade while it was being negotiated. What matters is that those who could mess it up didn't know. That like if Danny Ainge finds out, a week into the negotiation, if anybody that really wouldn't want to see this thing go down, they kept Danny in the dark. They kept a lot of these other people in the dark because what would have happened is it would have leaked and then teams would have swarmed. It would have been a feeding frenzy. Teams would have called the Mavs, offering them whatever. Mavs fans would have reacted. There would have been all these different opinions coming in and all of that. Agents would have gotten involved to a much higher degree. And the important thing is that anybody who could have messed this up, at least from the Lakers side of things, anybody who could have messed this up was kept in the dark.
Yeah, and they all said the exact same thing. If it got out, it was going to fall apart.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. Rob said that. Jeannie was saying that. Everybody has said that, and that's been the consistent stance. And so that's why they were fully on board with keeping it quiet. And that's the only way this deal of this magnitude goes through without falling apart. Because like with the whole Danny Ainge thing is so crazy to me because he's literally involved, but all he knew is he was trading for JHS and taking back those picks. Like that's insane to me. He didn't know the other part of this deal that he was involved in, but he made out with a good deal. You said that they were one of the winners of the trade, and they're I don't know is Danny Ainge like the president, and then they have a GM or the other guy.
Yep, Justin Zanuck.
Yeah. He was saying that it was a gift. Like the Lakers got gifted, but they felt pretty comfortable what they walked away with as well. Like
they got 2 second-round picks for paying less than half a season of Jalen Hood-Schifino's salary. That's what they got. That's great value.
But they would have nixed it instantly if they knew about it, just because they would have put the word out there. Like if they come out of the deal, that's fine. Another team would just take their place. But
exactly.
If they knew the Lakers were getting Luka, they're putting that word out there, and everyone knows. So.
That's just it. That's why I think the Jazz didn't know until about 30 minutes before the trade was actually going down. That's the reporting. But they also had that leverage over them of, hey, look, if you guys want to back out of this deal, now that you know that the Lakers are getting Luka and that these are the pieces involved, we've got teams X, Y, and Z ready to take Jalen Hood-Schifino for the same price. So somebody is getting a great deal. Somebody is getting 2 second-round picks for taking on less than half a season of Jalen Hood-Schifino's salary. The Jazz waived him. And so this deal's happening with or without you. There's nothing you can do about it now. We're too far down the road. And so you're either going to get a great deal and get these 2 second-round picks, or another team will. And that's the position they put the Jazz. Had he found out a weekend, then yeah, Danny's probably going to a bunch of other teams and saying, hey, did you guys know Luka's on the market? Yeah. That's
what all of them said. Like they were like, "Oh, we are upset because we didn't even know he was on the market." Like Nico specifically targeted AD, So that's what's crazy, and that's why you have so many people claiming foul play or etc. Because it doesn't pass the smell test, right? He kind of just kept it hush hush and targeted a specific player and got the deal done.
What it doesn't. There's a number of ways that it doesn't really make sense on the Mavs side, like why they did this. And I know they've said a lot of negative things about Luka since then, or at least stuff has been leaked. But if your big concern is that Luka can't stay healthy, right? Whether it's the beer drinking, the hookah, the conditioning, whatever it is, that he can't stay healthy, why would your solution to that be Anthony Davis? That doesn't make sense. It's like saying, gosh, I'm really hungry for lunch and I don't want fast food. Let's not go to that McDonald's right there. Oh, cool. Actually, let's go right there to Burger King. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, the rationale behind it. So I still don't get it from the Mavs side. I do think you're right, though. I think the Mavs teams, if they're healthy, they're very good. I think this is a very good team if they're healthy. I think they are a threat in the Western Conference. Again, that big if they're healthy. But I understand why teams around the NBA are pissed and why they had to keep this as secret as they did. Again, I don't buy that they really kept it secret in terms of just 4 people knowing, but I think the people who would have done something to stop it are the people that they prevented from knowing, and that was the big key to getting it done.
Well, Rich Paul himself said that if he knew, it would fall through. So that tells me he probably would have said something if he knew.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's really weird. Also, I want to just jump back to the Mavs trade thing.
Yeah.
If you watch that finals because there was another report, there's a report every couple days. There was a report that they didn't like the way that Luka played in the finals because Jaylen Brown and all this other stuff.
Right.
If you looked at Luka in that finals, who was like banged and battered and all that stuff, and your takeaway was, we need to keep Kyrie, we need to trade Luka. I love Kyrie, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you get rid of Kyrie and build around Luka for like a billion reasons. But that whole situation is just so bizarre, and they've put themselves on this elevated timeline where they could be super good. I honestly, if things break their way, I could see them going the distance. I can't.
They could.
They're healthy. I could see it happening. I could. But it's not probable. But they put themselves on this heightened timeline of only a couple of years here. So I really do wonder what's going to happen with that. So I wanted to ask you this. Let's just say, because obviously he's so polarizing, LeBron. If LeBron knew, let's just call it a day, right? If you knew a day in advance, doesn't say anything.
Does he stop it?
Yeah, exactly. Does he stop it? 1 and 2. If you're AD, how are you feeling about that? Like,
well, and that's why, like, if you're
friends, LeBron's was his favorite player growing up. He's a bit of a mentor to him, and there was also, those guys were all seen, Rich Paul included, with AD having a great time after the recent game and all that stuff. Like, do you have sore feelings here, or is the theory that AD knew also? Like, where does this go? I don't really understand it.
Well, this is why AD would be maybe a little annoyed if he says, I don't believe that nobody knew, if he believes LeBron knew, because I do think that LeBron would have the ability to stop it if he wanted to.
You think so? Unless he puts it out there. The Lakers are still making that trade.
He could find a way. Oh, yeah. Okay. If LeBron said, no, we don't want you to. The Lakers make that trade 100 times out of 100.
Anyway, right?
But if LeBron finds out early enough and he wants to put a stop to it, he just puts, whispers in somebody's ear, the information gets out, and then there you go, right? But even if he finds out a day in advance, even if it's weeks in advance, and LeBron says, damn, I kind of want to play with Luka. LeBron wants to make it clear to everybody, I did not know, because he doesn't want to have that. AD is his friend. He doesn't want to have that conversation with AD. Like, oh, yeah, it's man, business, I knew it. I just didn't tell you for weeks or anything like that, right? So maybe there's a little something to something to that.
It is what it is. Luka's his favorite player in the league. It is what it is. He said so himself.
Yeah, right.
A little bit of business, man. But the tricky thing with that too is that if you're the Lakers, like, you make that trade 10 times out of 10, but they weren't very far away. That team was super good. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle that they only needed 1 or 2 pieces. So, like, I do wonder if maybe if they had kept that core, and if LeBron puts it out there, how this all looks in the future. Does Luka, having found out that he gets traded, does he have some ill will towards the organization? But there was another report, because like I said, there's a report every other day that Nico wants to trade him by the summer at the latest.
Yeah.
So like, what happens there? Does they just shop Luka indefinitely for the rest of the year and then figure out something for the offseason?
And that's where Mavs fans are upset, right? Because had information gotten out there, then we've got the Luka trade sweepstakes. Then we're not just talking about the summer of a Kevin Durant trade, which is surely coming this summer. There would be teams lining up to trade for Luka. It would also be a mess because Luka would try to scare away teams by saying he would leave in free agency the next year. And so that could get messy. But if you're a Mavs fan, you're thinking, was there a better, what if some team was willing to give us all the picks, like everything?
Right.
In order to get Luka.
AD went out instantly.
And then AD getting hurt. Yeah, his first game does not help either.
Right. The good news is he's close to being back. But this whole situation is just an absolute mess. And I don't know when we'll actually know everything or be at the end of all of this. It's just,
I don't know. I think the JFK files are going to be released before we know what really went down here. It'll be 30 years from now. Stuff will finally be revealed after all these guys are no longer playing, exactly how what really took place in that coffee shop between Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison when they got the deal done. By the way, I still can't believe there's an actual picture of the two of them talking in the coffee shop. Like, how insane is that? Unbelievable. That
is crazy. Absolutely nuts.
Well, in any event, again, ultimately, doesn't matter who knew, who didn't know. No, what matters is the people who would have derailed the trade didn't find out, which is remarkable in this day and age that they were able to keep it as quiet as they did. But Anthony Davis says, I don't believe that only like 4 people actually knew. He thinks there's a bigger conspiracy here. More people knew about it and just went out of their way to keep it quiet, which if they did, I mean, again.
They put the call in. They put the call in.
That must be what it is.
That's one of those. That's out there,
man. that the league did it?
That's out there.
Yeah. They wanted a star in LA, a post LeBron star, and so they pushed this thing through.
They pushed the best international star there too. Man, it's gonna be something.
It's gotta be something. The frozen envelope, whatever it was. All right, everybody, give us your thoughts. What really happened with the Luka trade? Is Anthony Davis right that lies are being told right now about who actually knew? Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here and go check out Prize Picks. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.